Hello, my name is Katie. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here today to do some January new book releases that I'm excited about. So I know it's been a while since I've done one of these, mostly because I wasn't that interested in a lot of the books that were coming out, or there would only be like one or two that I cared about. And this is kind of a lot of work for just like one book. The plan is to film, edit, and upload this today. It is already 2:30, so I'm going to need to get moving. So to that end, I'm going to try to do this with as few cuts as possible. So if, you know, it's not as smooth as it normally is, forgive me. Okay, I'm going to try to make sure I have plenty of room here. Let's scooch a little bit, yeah, so we can put photos in here, because a lot of the times I'm like editing and I'm so frustrated with myself because I haven't left enough room to actually put photos and stuff in. YouTube struggles. Okay, so first off, we will start with a middle grade pick. This is Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. At least I think this is middle grade. It might be YA. Either way, it comes out January 11th. This is inspired by the legend of the Chinese moon goddess. A young woman must fight against the most powerful immortal in the realm to free her mother. I love reading about stories and mythology from other cultures, like Greek and Roman myth. That's all fun. That's great. It's very interesting. I think you can make a lot of really cool stories based on that. But it's so nice to find new stories to tell from other cultures, because there's so much out there, and I feel like so often we just get the same thing rewritten over and over and over again. So I love that this is something a little bit different, and I am excited to read this. Okay, next we have a sci-fi novel. This is How High We Go in the Dark by Sequoia Nagamatsu. I don't know if I'm saying that right, because I'm actually not sure I spelt it right in my notes here. But you'll see the cover here. It comes out January 18th. This is interesting. Okay, so we begin in 2030, and a grieving archaeologist arrives in the Arctic Circle to continue the work of his deceased daughter. Long-buried secrets are revealed in the melting permafrost, including the preserved remains of a girl who died of an ancient virus. As this virus, the so-called Arctic Plague, sweeps across the Earth, it will reshape lives for generations to come. Oh, man. So not only do we have like some real-world experience with this plague situation, I just think it's going to be so fascinating to read a book where an ancient plague is discovered, but it's still a lot, like, it's probably going to be horrifying, and I might not be able to actually get through it, but I want to read this book desperately. Okay, we have a mystery thriller. Oh wait, I have this one. Hold on. I got this early from Book of the Month. This is A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. This comes out, when does this come out? The 11th. So this is a book about a girl, and when she is 12 years old, her father is arrested for being a serial killer, a serial murderer. I think both work. And he had apparently killed 6 girls in their small town in Louisiana. Fast forward, like, I don't know, 15, 20 years, something like that. Chloe, her name is, she is now a psychologist in Baton Rouge. And she is planning a wedding, and things seem to be going quite well for her, and then mysteriously teenage girls start turning up dead again around her. And the method of the killing is eerily similar to how her father killed way back in the day. So I really enjoyed this. I don't remember exactly what rating I gave it. You'll see it in my December wrap-up, which should be coming Tuesday. And this was just very enjoyable. A little bit predictable, but I thought the plot was crafted extremely well. And I do recommend it. Okay, next we have a few historical fiction picks. One is The Magnolia Palace by Fiona Davis. This comes out January 25th. I think think I've read from Fiona Davis before. I know I own a book of hers, but I haven't read it. So maybe I haven't read anything by the author before. I'm not sure, but this one is a tantalizing novel about the secrets, betrayal, and murder within one of New York City's most impressive Gilded Age mansions. After losing her mother to the Spanish flu, Lillian Carter's life falls apart. Once a sought-after artist's model, work has dried up. She takes a job working as a private secretary for a demanding and imperious heiress. This has so many things that I love. First of all, it has secrets, betrayal, and murder inside a Gilded Age mansion. I love books about grand houses, and this fits right up that alley. It's also historical fiction, which is another thing that I love. I'm very keen on this one. Okay, next up, also on the 25th. I think all my historical fiction picks come on the 25th. We have Violeta by Isabel Allende. I have read this. I think I talked about it. I haven't talked about it yet. I got an early release copy from NetGalley. I have read it. I enjoyed it. I will be posting a review soon-ish. Basically, it is Violeta as a 100-year-old woman in 2020, so living through coronavirus, telling her story. She was born in 1920 during the Spanish flu, and she is now dying in 2020 during the coronavirus pandemic. And she just takes you through her entire life, all the politics and the upheavals and the drama, and it felt so much like listening to my grandma tell me stories that I just absolutely fell in love. Okay, and the last historical fiction, also on the 25th, Her Hidden Genius by Marie Benedict. I read exactly one thing about this and decided I needed to read it, and that is that this is about Rosalind Franklin and her work with DNA. Rosalind Franklin was instrumental in discovering the structure of DNA, and Watson and Crick so often just kind of like, they are in the spotlight and she is pushed into the shadows. She didn't even get mentioned in like the Nobel nom for it, nothing. So I am so excited to see that there is going to be a book dedicated to her. I'm sure other ones exist. I'm sure they do. But this is the first one that I have kind of come into contact with, so I'm very excited for that. Okay, next we have some fiction picks. We have Wahala by Nikki May. This comes out January 11th. I believe Wahala means trouble. So part of the synopsis said, a sharp modern take on friendship, ambition, culture, and betrayal. Wahala, in parentheses, trouble, is an unforgettable novel from a brilliant new voice. So I believe that's what it means. But this this follows the friendships of Anglo-Nigerian best friends, and it seems to be along the vein of like the Sex and the City friendships. So I'm here for this. I think it's going to be really interesting, and the author herself is Anglo-Nigerian, and that always just adds some, I don't want to say legitimacy, but it makes it feel more real. Okay, coming out January 4th. Wow, usually I do a better job putting these in date order, sorry. This is The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chen. So this could potentially also be classified as science fiction because it does have kind of a dystopian feel to it. This is about Frida Lou. Her life is not going well. She has a daughter. Her name is Harriet. But Frida has a bad day, and she makes a questionable parenting decision. And in this world, Big Brother is watching everything you do. Specifically, they are watching mothers. So she is taken away to an institution where she must stay until she can prove that she has learned how to be a good mother. I feel like there is going to be a lot of cultural commentary in this, and I very much want to read it. That's Ari. I'm sorry, I don't know what she's barking at. Okay, next up, I feel like this one's going to be pretty popular. To Paradise by Hanya Yanagihara. Oh my god. I've never had to say this last name because I never read A Little Life, which is this author's previous work. And now I have to. This comes out January 11th. and it is set in alternate versions of 1893 New York, 1993 Manhattan during the AIDS epidemic, 2093 in a world beset with plague and governed by totalitarian rule. So I've really been liking this concept of the book having stories that take place across different time periods, but they all have one connecting theme, and this very much seems to be what is going to happen in this novel, so I'm very interested in reading this as well. Okay, next up, releasing January 25th, we have Notes on an Execution by Danya Kukafka. I'm trying here, guys. Okay. Ansel Packer is scheduled to die in 12 hours. Through the women in his life, we learn his story that culminates in tragedy. So this is directly from the synopsis. Blending breathtaking suspense with astonishing empathy, Notes on an Execution presents a chilling portrait of womanhood as it simultaneously unravels the familiar narrative of the American serial killer, interrogating our system of justice and our cultural obsession with crime stories, asking readers to consider the false promise of looking for meaning in the psyches of violent men. That sounds like it's going to be fascinating. It sounds like one of those things where I'm not sure I'm smart enough to actually read it and comprehend what's going on, but I'm going to try. Okay, we have a few nonfiction here. First up, coming out on the 4th, actually the first two come out on January 4th. Let's Get Physical, How Women Discovered Exercise and Reshaped the World by Danielle Friedman. First of all, I want to read this book because this is the year that I have finally discovered that exercise can be enjoyable. Like, in the past I've done it, but I've hated it. It's always been a chore. And it's only been in this past probably 6 months that I have learned that there's so much enjoyment to be had from exercise. So for that reason, I want to read this. But to read you a bit of the synopsis, a captivating blend of reportage and personal narrative that explores the untold history of women's exercise culture, from jogging and jazzercise to Jane Fonda, and how women have parlayed physical strength into other forms of power. Anything that is about females getting power, like, that makes me very happy. So I'm here for it. Also coming on the 4th, Worn, A People's History of Clothing by Sofi Thanhauser. In this ambitious panoramic social history, Sofi Thanhauser brilliantly tells 5 stories, linen, cotton, silk, synthetics, and wool, about the clothes we wear and where they come from, illuminating our world in unexpected ways. I'm just really interested in that. First of all, I love clothes. I mean, a lot of women do. And secondly, I think it'll take... It's like a micro-history type situation where you're looking at history through the focus of one very specific thing. And I really look forward to reading this. Okay, the final book on this list comes out January 25th, Go Back to Where You Came From and Other Helpful Recommendations on How to Become an American by Wajahat Ali. I'm so sorry. I really need to start looking these things up before I say them. The problem is, if I don't Google it right before I say it, then I totally mess it up still anyway. But I need to do better. Maybe I should put that on my goals for this year. Okay. I'm just gonna read, this is from the synopsis. This is just one of the many warm, lovely, and helpful tips that Wajahat Ali and other children of immigrants receive on a daily basis. Go back where, exactly? Fremont, California, where he grew up but is now an unaffordable place to live? Or Pakistan, the country his parents left behind half a century ago? It tackles the dangers of Islamophobia, white supremacy, and chocolate hummus, peppering personal stories with astute insights into national security, immigration, and pop culture. In this refreshingly bold, hopeful, and uproarious memoir, Ali offers indispensable lessons for cultivating a more compassionate, inclusive, and delicious America. I feel like if that doesn't appeal to you at least a little bit, you should take a good, hard look at your morals. Just a suggestion. Okay, so those are the books that I am excited for in January. I was actually able to get through this pretty quick, so I might, fingers crossed, be able to get it up today. Anyway, let me know in the comments any books that you're excited for in January, whether they be on this list or not. They don't even have to be new releases. It's just, what are you excited for this month? Thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon. Bye.